Hello, I'm Tom Seawood. Welcome to Sasquatch Island. I'm here just north of Campbell River at Roberts Lake Resort. It's on the edge of the island highway, and you're going to hear traffic behind me because the highway is not 80 yards from me. Sorry about that, but that's just the location. I'm staying in a beautiful log cabin here at the lake. It's the last week of October 2020. Yes, we're in the pandemic times of our life, and there's no other clients here. Just myself and a couple of friends of mine that are come investigating with me. So the reason why we came to Roberts Lake is on the internet a few nights ago, someone posted on British Columbia Sasquatch group that there was vocalizations and tree knocking behind me here across the lake, and he heard tree breaks as well. He was at the south end of the lake down here where there's a gravel road that leads to a picnic area with a boardwalk and a nice sandy beach, a nice little creek, and it's a great place to trout fish because when I was there today I saw maybe 15 or 20 trout just working the riffle of that little stream coming into the lake, probably eating mosquitoes and anything else that was washing down. But standing there I was looking up at the bluffs of what we call Menzies Mountain, and I thought, boy, it would have been nice being here last week when you heard the vocalizations and the tree knocks. We were here last night. It was some breeze blowing and waves lapping at the beach behind me, so it wasn't a good night to sit at the campfire and try to listen for anything. So we just stayed in the cabin. We had some friends show up, and we had fun. But tonight, it's a little bit of a drizzle. There's no wind, and that highway that's noisy right now, by 8 o'clock tonight it's going to be very quiet, very little traffic if any, and especially after 11 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning it's going to be totally dead. You might hear one or two vehicles pass every hour, and that's when I want to be awake and listening and standing here where I am having a coffee and listening, and hopefully we can hear some whoops, some howls, maybe even some tree knocks, and of course we can jump in the vehicle and go to the south end where the gravel road is and some logging roads, or we can go to the northwest end where the Pie Lake Road is, and we can hopefully get close to where the noise is coming from. But Roberts Lake, I've posted pictures about it. A couple of years ago, my good friends Dave and Grace, we loaded up, I guess about a 8-foot tall wood Sasquatch carving, and we brought it here to the owner of the property and her partner in life, a good friend of mine by the name of Walt. Well, Walt's no longer with us. He passed a couple of years ago. But I always remember that day when we brought that pickup truck with that big Sasquatch carving, and we used all kinds of ropes and grunting and sweating, and we put the Sasquatch where it is. And everyone who drives the island highway north of Campbell River, they look down and they can see the Sasquatch, or they stop by and get their picture. But it's indicative of what Roberts Lake stands for. It's a place that's in between Campbell River and Sayward. There's very few people live out here. At the lake, there's no one living here. But across the highway up gravel logging road, there's a building that used to be a youth penitentiary back in the 1990s and beyond. But then it was sold and it became a school for Korean children coming to Canada. And we went up there today and it looks like it's all closed up and there's just a watchman there. So no one lives out here. But there's so many reports of Sasquatch sightings going across the highway, people seeing them while they're out hunting or camping or just mushroom picking or exploring. And then of course we have Roberts Lake, where it has a highway camera for British Columbia highways right outside the front of the resort on a telephone pole. And about 5 years ago, there was a blob squatch image that came out from that highway camera. But at the same time, I phoned Walt up here and asked him, and he goes, Tom, some strange things have been happening here during that period of that picture. Noises. And he told me another time about him walking through the bush just to the south of the property line. And we set trail cameras up there today. And hopefully we'll get something. Maybe we won't, more than likely, but we're trying. But Walt told me when he was walking there with his dog, something slid down a tree in front of him. He couldn't see it, but he could hear it. Something big going down this tree. And these trees, you can look around the property. They're pretty big. They got to be 60 feet high and higher. and it hit the ground with a big thump, and he said he heard it going boom, 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 boom as it ran off bipedally. So a lot of activity here, and that's one of the reasons why we came here. I highly recommend to you Sasquatch enthusiasts, if you're looking for a place that's inexpensive to stay at, it has the ambience of a rustic log cabin or another cabin that's on property you can rent. During the tourist season, when it's not COVID-19, the Roberts Lake is world famous for their cinnamon rolls and their buttercups, and they have a nice little quaint little restaurant with antique furniture, black and white photos of Mr. Duncan when he built this facility back in the 1950s, and some of the big huge trout that were caught in this lake and still are. And the food is amazing. Lorna making her homemade bread with her workers, the best breakfast around. So I highly recommend just come some half an hour north of Campbell River. You can go on the internet and get their contacts, Roberts Lake Resort, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and you can come stay here for a few nights like we're doing. And you know, maybe take a siesta as the sun's setting, wake up around 10:30 at night when the highway's not busy, and get yourself a campfire down at the fire pit and sit here and listen. And who knows, maybe you'll hear something. Bring your four-wheel drive or even your two-wheel drive vehicle for that matter, or your quads or whatever, and travel the hundreds of miles of logging roads around here. Menzies Mountain, just south of the resort towards Campbell River, at the top of the Menzies Hill on the highway, there's a logging sign that's, shows a logging truck. It's yellow, and there's a road there. You can take it, and as you go up it, veer to the right, and it'll go down to a Y and veer to the left, and it's going to go straight up the mountain. And as you get up to the very top of the steep grade, look to your left, and you can see this pullover and an opening. Pull in there and park, walk 20 paces, and you're going to be at the edge of a bluff. So when you go to my Facebook group, Sasquatch Island, you see me with my shirt, Sasquatch Island, and I'm looking out at the expanse of lakes and evergreen coastal rainforest. That's the lookout. It's an amazing place. If you have a four-wheel drive, go a little further and you get to another Y junction, take the right-hand turn. It's a deactivated road where the culverts have been pulled and there's cross ditches. You're going to have to be in 4 low, and you're going to bounce and climb, and within about 10 minutes you're going to come to a gate and there's a radio tower to your right. Keep going, you're going to look up, and now you've punched through the trees. You're in the alpine of Menzies Mountain, and you'll see another radio tower that's green. Keep going, and you're going to get to the end of the logging road some 300 yards down, and there's the coal deck where the machine was pulling the logs up. Park, you'll see the fire pit where I've stayed and camped 2 years ago in June, and we found a tree break right there to the left at the start of the second growth forest, and we heard tree knocks in the morning at daylight when we woke up from those tents. But you got to go there. Walk up into that alpine, gets you right to the top of Menzies Mountain. My recommendations would be probably the first part of July till the end of September is your prime time to go to the top of Menzies Mountain. A place where airplane pilots descending to the mouth of the Campbell River to land their float planes. One of them saw a huge Sasquatch running through the snow with its arms swinging, snow kicking up, and he looked out his window and he said, "I can't believe what I'm seeing." So he banked his plane 6 times. He went around that Sasquatch, and he said to me when he gave me the report, he goes, "I could see that thing mouth open at me, its hand was up. I could only imagine if I could hear it. It was probably yelling at me, angered that this airplane was going around that Sasquatch." The next day, that pilot went up in another airplane with a few of his pilot friends, and they saw the trackway leading south to the bluffs and going down, and that's the last they saw the tracks. But that's exactly where I camped when I went up there 2 years ago. Just north of us, there's so many reports of Sasquatches crossing the highway. There's the hatchery up the road where they had activity. South of us is the net loft at the bottom of the Menzies Hill towards Campbell River, as well as the lumber mill. And they both have, I've heard reports from people that have worked there or lived there. So this part of Vancouver Island, it's, a lot of people are out here hunting and fishing, camping throughout the summer and spring. This time of the year, at the end of October, the mushroom pickers are just winding down because the first frosts have come. And the hunters are out there for elk and deer. Well, there's also Sasquatch, which my tribe of this territory calls Chunakwa, the Kwakwakiwak people. And my ancestors have spoken about Sasquatch for thousands of years because we know that we share our homelands with the other tribe, the Sasquatch, Chunakwa. So hopefully you'll get a chance to come to Roberts Lake. Definitely bring your fishing rod because there's a dock here, and at the south end of the lake there's that camping spot, picnic spot with a nice beach with a stream going down. Bring some worms, bring some salmon roe or whatever you like to use, and catch some of the big rainbow trout that are found in this lake. Or just do like we're doing. Enjoy the balcony and quiet at night. Not so much now at 5 o'clock in the afternoon with the rush hour traffic of the Island Highway, but tonight, as it was last night, it will be the deafening roar of silence. I thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sasquatch Island. I have other videos you're surely going to enjoy of wild places very few ever see from when I go commercial fishing. You're going to see places on Vancouver Island, and you'll be able to experience my investigations, my way of life, and hopefully you too will come here and come on an investigation with me. You can look at SasquatchIsland.com for my email address and a little bit about some of the expeditions I do. And the way I operate is you phone me, tell me what you want, what your budget is, where you want to go, Washington State or Vancouver Island, and then we'll set a time and a date. And I'll advertise for a few other people to come with us so that it keeps our costs down for water taxis, vehicles, cabin rentals, whatever. Even a helicopter if you want to fly out to some of those places where there's a lot of Sasquatch activity. And of course, watch YouTube Sasquatch Island. Don't forget to hit the little bell so you're reminded when I post a new video like this one. And don't forget to slap that subscribe button like a rogue Sasquatch slaps a disrespectful investigator upside the head. And of course, Sasquatch Island, the Facebook group. And stay tuned. Sasquatch Island, the other tribe. I heard that the first part of November 2020, our producer of Sasquatch Island, the other tribe, Wild Woman Media, Victoria Williams, my good friend and my producer, will be releasing our first documentary that we've been putting together over the last few years. And don't forget to take a look at the new venture I'm on with my good friend Ali Stephen. We have created Seasons of the Sasquatch. It's what we're doing here at Roberts Lake. We're filming our first 2 episodes. The first one on salmon, the other one on Roberts Lake and the noises that were heard up here last week. You're going to want to join that Facebook group as well as the YouTube channel. And stay tuned because you're going to have to be patient and give us some time, but I promise you within 6 months to a year, hopefully we will be out there somewhere so you'll be able to watch Seasons of the Sasquatch. But this is Tom Seawood, who always ends his videos with Sasquatch Island by saying, be safe out there in the investigations, and in the language of my people, halakulasla. Go in peace.